In today's video, we're going to walk you through how to track every lead that you get, whether it be a phone call or a form submission, as a conversion inside Google Ads. And this is the exact way we go about tracking leads as conversions for all of the different service-based businesses that we're working with. And what I'll do for this video as well is leave timestamps to each of the individual conversion actions that we need to track, as well as how to add Google Tag Manager either to your WordPress website or your landing page builder, depending on where you're sending traffic. Now, the first thing we want to do if we want to track form submissions or phone calls from your landing page or website as conversions, the first thing we want to do is go to tagmanager.google.com, where we're going to set up Google Tag Manager. So when you're in there, you just create an account and you can name the account as well, whatever you like. So for the sake of this video, we're just going to call this video. And for country, then you would obviously just set it to the country that you're based in. And for the container name, then you can just leave that as the same as the account name. And for target platform, just choose web and press create. And then you just have to accept the terms and conditions and press yes. And from there then, before you get brought to create any tags or anything like that, you'll get this prompt to install Google Tag Manager on your website or landing page. And we're going to show you how to install this on your landing page first of all, if you're using a landing page builder, and then we're going to go ahead and show you how to do it inside a WordPress website. So if you're using a landing page builder like we are with Landingly, and the same thing applies to any other landing page builder, but what you want to do is go to the JavaScript code, which is where you'll be able to add the head and body tag from Google Tag Manager. So we can call the first one head tag, and then we're going to add it in the head position and both pages. And then we're going to go back to Google Tag Manager and copy the head tag first of all and paste that into the head position and just press add script. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the body tag then. So we're going to press add new script and we can just call this one body tag, and we can keep this as body bottom position and on both pages. And so we do the exact same thing, just copy the body tag and paste that in here and just press add script. So if you're using a landing page builder like this, that's exactly how you add the head and body tag to it. And now I'll also show you how to do the same with a WordPress website if you're sending traffic directly to the website. And now to show you how to add Google Tag Manager to a WordPress website if you're sending traffic to the website directly, what we want to do is add a plugin because it just makes the whole process so much easier. So we can go to plugins and then add plugin. And when you go to search plugins, then you can just put in GTM. And it should be the first one that you see here then, which is GTM for WordPress. So you can just press install now. And then when you see this in your list of plugins here, you can just press settings. And all you have to do then is get the Google Tag Manager ID from Google Tag Manager. So we'll go back to Google Tag Manager, and this time we don't have to enter in the head and body tag like we did on the landing page, but just copy this code right here and just paste that in here where it says Google Tag Manager ID. And then just press save changes down at the bottom. So now that we've added Google Tag Manager either to your website or landing page builder, whatever you're using to send traffic to from your Google Ads, now we're actually able to track form submissions and phone calls from our ads. And if you would like a free checklist that contains everything that you need to remember when it comes to conversion tracking or setting up and managing Google Ads as a whole, so you have a checklist of everything that you need to remember to do, and that way then you're not leaving anything out, I'll leave a link for this checklist down below. And if you are a service-based business looking to have everything done and implemented for you, including all of the conversion tracking and everything taken care of, I'll also leave a link for that down below. So now that we've covered how to actually install Google Tag Manager on our website or landing page, we can actually start setting up our conversion tracking. So we're going to start out with form submissions on our landing page. And to do that, inside our Google Ads account, we want to go to the conversion summary table first by pressing goals and then summary. And once you're on this page, then we can just press create conversion action. And since we just want to measure form submissions for now, we can unselect phone calls and just say conversions on a website and press save and continue. And out of all these options, then what we're going to choose is submit lead form. And we're going to set up manually using code. And then inside conversion settings, we can go through the rest of the steps here. Now, each of the steps you follow, it depends as well on how old or new the Google Ads account is, because the layout here of the options might be a little bit different. But overall, the exact steps you'll follow to set up these conversion actions will be the exact same. But then what you can do first of all is make sure you set it as a primary action, because if it's set as secondary, it'll be tracked as a conversion, but it's not actually going to show up as a conversion inside your dashboard. So make sure it's tracked as a primary. And then for conversion name, we just want to say something easy that you remember. So for example, form submission from video. And for value, then you can just choose don't use a value. And for count, we can leave this as 1. And click-through conversion window, this can vary depending on the service that you offer, but I typically like to go with 30 days because if it could be a repeat purchase from the same person looking to get the job again done, for example, 2 months later, then it would apply as a new conversion. And then we can just press done and then press save and continue. And you just press finish then before we go back to the conversion action that we just set up. So as you can see here, we have form submission from video and we want to click back into it. And then what we want to do is go down to where it says tag setup and then use Google Tag Manager. And so now what we have is a conversion ID and a conversion label. So we're going to use this to set up our tag now inside Google Tag Manager. So we can switch back to Google Tag Manager and go to tags and then press add new tag, tag configuration. And the first tag we actually want to set up is the conversion linker. And without this tag here, none of this conversion tracking for forms or phone calls would work. So we're going to add the conversion linker first of all. And for triggering then for this one, you just want to say all pages, press save, and you can keep the name as is, press save. And now we're going to add the actual tag for the form submission tracking that we just set up inside Google Ads. So you can press new again, tag configuration, press Google Ads, and then Google Ads conversion tracking. And now what we want to do is get our conversion ID and conversion label from Google Ads. So in Google Ads, we'll get our conversion ID first of all and paste that back into Google Tag Manager. And we're just going to do the exact same thing then with the conversion label. And we don't need to fill anything in for these boxes here, so we can go straight down to triggering. And instead of all pages this time, what we're going to do is go press the blue plus icon. And under trigger configuration, what we want to do is press page view and then some page views. And what we're going to do here is press page URL contains. And what you want to put in here is going to be completely specific to you. And usually this is going to be something along the lines of thank you. But what you want to do with your own landing page is, for example, just fill out the form. And you can see here, this is just a test domain because it's inside the landing page software itself. But what we want to do is fill out the form and see something in the actual thank you page that we go to that isn't in the landing page itself, because that way then we can track, when a conversion actually happens because the page that they go to contains that text. So we just filled out the form on our test domain, and for example, we have this text here that isn't on the actual landing page itself. So we can just take this text here, for example, that isn't on the actual landing page, and inside Google Tag Manager, we can have page URL contains this, so that way then we know that a conversion is only being tracked when they go to a page that has this text. And usually for most landing pages, this will say something like thank you, but the key here is to just put in some text that is only on the thank you page after they fill out the form and not on the landing page itself. So you can just press save and save again, and then just press save, and you can leave this name as is or change it as you like and press save. And now what we want to do is actually confirm that this was set up correctly. So we're going to press submit and publish and continue. And now what we want to do is go back to workspace and go to tags again and press preview. So we're going to test out our form to actually make sure that our landing page actually is tracking conversions correctly. So we're going to take our landing page URL and paste it in here and press connect. And so what you should see is that your landing page will load, and you want to see here inside Google Tag Manager that the conversion linker fired, but the Google Ads conversion tracking tag did not fire yet because we obviously didn't fill out the form or go to the landing page. So what we want to do is test that now by filling out the form. So we can just fill in these details here. And then what we want to do is obviously press get quote. So it brings us to the thank you page, and this should change here as well. So as you saw there, the Google Ads conversion tracking tag fired because we went to our thank you page. So that way then we know that a conversion will be tracked each time someone will fill out the form on our landing page. So that's how to track form submissions from your landing page. And back inside Google Ads then as well, what you'll notice after a while is that the tags are going to change from inactive like you'll see currently, but it's usually within, an hour or two max that this will change from inactive to no recent conversions. So that way then you know that it was actually set up correctly. But now what we're going to walk you through is how to actually track phone calls from your landing page. And to do that, this time we're going to go to press create conversion action again. And we're not going to do conversions on a website this time, but we're going to do conversions from phone calls, and press save and continue. And we're going to go with phone call lead. And where you can press add conversion actions here, we're going to go with calls from website visits, since it's calls from our landing page. And what you want to do here is someone calls a number shown on my website, so not just a click on the website, because we want to track when an actual phone call is made. But sometimes someone might click on the button to bring them to the dialer pad, but then not actually make the call. So someone calls a number shown on my website. And then what we want to do here is make sure you have the correct country selected first of all. And where the phone numbers are displayed here, the key to this is to just make sure that the number you put in is exactly the same as the number as it's displayed here on the landing page. So that's just the one thing you want to make sure of. So you can paste the two of those in here and use this event. And then you can just press edit settings to finish this off. So you can keep the name as is. You can say don't use a value for this conversion action. Choose 1 again for count. The number is already put in here. The call length then is completely up to you. A lot of the time I just tend to put in 0 in here because we like to track all phone calls that come in as conversions. But if you prefer to track anything that's, for example, 30 seconds or longer as a conversion, if you find that any call below that is never worth your time or even worth tracking as a conversion, then you can do that as well. And you can keep click-through conversion window and attribution as is and just press done. And from there then just press save and continue. And then you can just press done or finish again before we go back to actually add our tag to Google Tag Manager. So we can go back into our conversion action again. And under tag setup then, we're going to go with use Google Tag Manager. And we have our conversion ID and conversion label again here. So all we have to do is go back to Google Tag Manager and we're going to add a new tag again. And under tag configuration, we're going to go with Google Ads, but this time it's Google Ads calls from website conversion. And the first thing we want to put in actually is the phone number, just the way it's displayed on the landing page. And then go back to Google Ads to get the conversion ID. And we're going to do the exact same thing again with the conversion label. And then what we want to do under triggering is just go with all pages, press save and save again. And you can just press submit again, publish and continue. So now what we're going to do is go back to tags again. And we're going to go to preview again and go grab our landing page URL to paste in. And when you paste in your landing page URL again, you should see that your Google Ads calls from website conversion is fired automatically. And now what I did notice about this as well is that you'd think that you'd actually have to make a phone call to trigger this and actually make sure it's counted as a conversion. But as long as the tag is fired as it is here, we've always found that any phone call that comes in is tracked accurately as a conversion. And you'll also be able to see any phone calls that come in from your campaign as well by going to call details under predefined reports inside your campaign. So if you go to call details here as well, it's always going to match up with the calls that you actually get that are tracked as conversions inside your campaign. And the exact same applies as well as form submissions. After about an hour or two max, this status here should change from inactive to no recent conversions. And then that's just going to confirm for you that the conversion action was set up accurately. And now what we're going to show you how to do as well is track calls that come in from the ad itself and not just the landing page. And this is a lot easier to set up because there's nothing involved with Google Tag Manager or anything like that. All you have to do is go to assets inside your campaign if you're running responsive search ads and go to call here to add your call asset. So you can just press the blue plus icon. And so what you want to do first of all to actually set up your call asset is enter in the country that you're based in again. And you can just enter in the phone number that you're using as well. We're just going to use this one as an example. And once you've made this call asset, then all you have to do is press save. And then to make sure that if anyone calls you from the ad itself before even clicking onto your landing page and it's tracked as a conversion, it's as simple as just setting up another conversion action, but for the call asset. So we're going to go to create conversion action again and only have conversions from phone call selected. And when you go to add conversion actions, it's calls from ads this time. And it's worth mentioning as well that if you're running call only ads that are only on mobile phones, so you wouldn't be adding the call asset to this, but you'd be tracking calls directly from the ad itself, and the call button isn't a call asset but literally part of the headlines and descriptions. This is the exact same process you'd follow for that as well. So you'd go to calls from ads because the phone number is literally displayed on the ad itself. And then in edit settings, you can just keep this as is, calls from ads. I'll just put in for video. And then under value, it's the same thing, just don't use a value. For count, you choose 1. And for call length, then you can just choose whatever you like and press done and save and continue and press finish. And then you've made your conversion action. So all you have to do is go back to call assets again. And when you're inside your call asset, then all you have to do under conversion action is remember to change this to the conversion action that you just set up and press save. And that's exactly how you make sure that any calls from call assets are tracked as conversions. And just to quickly pull up a call only campaign, if you happen to be running those and want to set up conversion tracking the exact same way, all you have to do is remember to set the conversion action that you just set up in this box here directly below the ad itself. So inside ads rather than assets, because the call button is actually a part of the ad itself and not just an asset that you add onto it. And under conversion action, this is where you would add so here. And so setting up call tracking from the ad itself, whether that be from your call asset or your call only ad, is even easier than setting up your conversion tracking on your landing page itself, because there's no need for Google Tag Manager or anything like that. Now, I hope this video helped and gave you clarity on exactly how to go about setting up conversion tracking inside your Google Ads campaigns. But if you do have any questions about anything we talked about inside this video or anything else related to Google Ads as a whole, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed this Google Ads content as well, do consider subscribing to the channel. And if there are any other aspects of Google Ads that you'd like to see a more detailed video on, I'll leave the link up above to another playlist that has separate videos on each of the individual aspects of setting up and managing a Google Ads campaign from start to finish.